So here's the recent developments. Within the last couple days, I really got to looking at, the number 2 bearing, rod bearing. I knew it had been knocking, just from moving the crank around. I can hear it, and I could have somebody turn the engine over, and I could see the play that number 2 had on it. So I got to doing more research and looking online, asking questions, and I found out that really none of my bearings had many, if any, shims left, meaning they're pretty well worn. So what that means, to those of you who don't know what Babbitt bearings are, these shims are, is a lot of these old tractors were designed with a bearing called Babbitt. It's a type of metal. It's a softer metal than what the crank is, so if anything's going to wear, it's going to be the Babbitt. And as it wears, you have shims, which are kind of these that go between, and you remove one or two at a time to take up any play, retorque them, you're good to go. Well, all these are pretty well at the end. I think only two, I think number 1 and number 4 had like 2 left on each side, and the middle 2 had none. But oddly enough, 2 and I think 4 were the ones that were knocking. 2 was the worst. All the bearing surfaces look good. Well, kinda. You can probably see up in there. There looks like there might be some scoring and stuff from dirt and shit that's got up in there. So, anyways, this thing went from just a rebuild components and get it running to a pretty well full-blown rebuild. I was pretty pissed the other night, needless to say, because really my plans were to just, rebuild, well, the mags got sparked, so rebuild the carb, get the head rebuilt, get all new gaskets, put it back together and get it running. Nope. It said it's looking like new rod bearings. Gonna hone the cylinders. I went ahead and I felt all the way down on each, and they're all smooth. At the bottom of each of them, I can feel maybe a teeny tiny lip at the bottom of the stroke, but nothing that my finger catches on. But the top has no lip or anything like that. So I'm going to hone them. I'm going to go ahead and put new rings on them this far in. Before I knew that these had to come out the bottom, which on these ones it does because the rods won't fit through the cylinders, I pushed 2 of them through the top. I ended up having to break the rings off. But the others I pulled out the bottom. And it wasn't bad, to be honest. Not the worst thing I've ever done. I'm trying to figure out how to get this oil pump off. It needs cleaned. All that sludge is just pouring out of there. I was hitting on it with a hammer a minute ago, and it just thought I got it to stop, and no, just more came flooding out. But I've already removed the 2 bolts. You probably can't even see them, but they're kind of up there. And I still can't get it off. It might wait a few. Anyways, as you can see, the radiator needs rebuilt. At this point, I'm hoping that this core is salvageable because I don't want to pay $400 for a new core. Pistons are in good shape, rods are in good shape, they just need bearings. I can't really show you guys, but inside of there, the sleeves are, they're pitted, and they've got some crap built up on them, calcium and stuff, but what are you going to do, right? The sleeves themselves are still in good shape. I'll probably run that, I don't know, what's that stuff called? Just that engine, that cooling system flush through it a couple times to maybe try to break some of that up, clean it out, and then just run antifreeze in it. antifreeze, antifreeze in it. You know, that's got rust inhibitors and stuff. And I'm not pulling these sleeves. I know everyone's probably thinking, well, you know, you're this far into it, just pull the sleeves, you know, you probably need to replace those O-rings down there. Yeah, probably. But at the same time, it's like, look at where I'm doing this, you know? I don't have some big fancy shop. I'm literally shade treeing this, just like it's in the same spot as my John Deere B was. All this is being done outside. I mean, I'm working with nothing but hand tools, for God's sakes. You know? Hand tools. I don't have the equipment necessary to pull those sleeves and replace the O-rings. And I'm just hope to God that I don't have to pull them. And that they're not going to leak. Which I know is kind of a big thing to hope for, but at this point in time, I can't. I don't have the skill or the tools to do so. You know, I mean, hell, I gotta get a new fan shaft or bearing, bushing, whatever the heck goes right there, because the fan's wobbly. I don't know. And I'm debating on leaving it in its work clothes whenever it's all said and done. You know, pretty well rebuilt engine, everything's rebuilt on it. Nothing really going on this side. I did tighten up the governor housing bolts. I think the previous owner had loosened them because he was going to try to, you know, pull all this apart, and he decided not to. It's pretty well clean in there, kind of. So, and surprisingly not much water came out whenever I dumped the oil. I'd say probably a quart of water. If that, probably a pint, half a quart. So, maybe if somebody could tell me, are these little things, the metal things on the side of the radiators, like, because they actually have big cast iron supports that go right here, but they've got these thin metal plates, and of course when mice got into it, their urine and shit and all that eats away. I mean, are these necessary? Can these be found? Can they be found new? I'm a big proponent of new parts because that means it's not going to wear out as fast. But I'm quickly learning on these 87-year-old Farmall Regulars that that's probably not an option. But, my dogs. Hey! What are you guys doing? It's going to be hot today. Eli. Ellie. And Sophie. Sophie! Yeah, Mom's gonna love me petting you with my greasy hands. Anyways, so this is all I got. I'm gonna pack up and I'm gonna get downstairs. My basement door's right here. And I'm gonna go clean up my workspace and get some stuff put down on my workbench and see what the next step is. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate you watching. Any advice is greatly encouraged. Thank you.